have 72 hours to get Al Snow to the Greek Theater in Los Angeles. I want you to go to London and pick him up.
Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry.
On June 4th, you don't have to be a rock star to party like one. Get him to the Greek. Rated R.
Now you gotta wonder what Jonah Hill's probably thinking right now.
Call the police.
Welcome to Time About the Movies, and boy do we have a week of movies for you that is gonna lead to a lot of interesting conversations and discussions. These are the 4 movies of June 4, 2010. So let's get to the biggest new release and the best new release. But yeah, it's hard to think about it now what we know. But Get Him to the Greek, which is the spin-off to Forgetting Sarah Marshall, starring Russell Brand's Al Snow character from that movie, now as the lead. And Jonah Hill's in here, not playing the same character you get in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but a different character. He plays an intern in this who suggests to have a 10th anniversary concert for Al Snow's Live at the Greek Theater concert to his boss, record producer Sergio, played by Sean Puffy Combs, a.k.a. P. Diddy. Sergio agrees and sends Aaron to London to pick up the rock star and get him first to NBC's Today Show and then to the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, all within 72 hours. And of course, like in most road movies, hilarity ensues, including an adrenaline shot a la Pulp Fiction, Aaron drinking up whiskey and smoking to keep Aldous clean, and Aaron sticking a thing of drugs up his ass, which, boy, let's get to the controversies, because that's definitely one of those scenes that's just like, what the hell were you thinking? But nowadays, this thing has gotten a whole lot even more creepier, because not only that scene, but there's also a scene where Jonah Hill's character is raped, and it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, it's very hard to make rape funny. It's the observe and report argument again. Like, it's very hard to make rape funny, and yeah, it's not that great of a joke in this movie anyway. But the big thing that everyone takes away from this now is, of course, the fact that Sean Puffy Combs has been arrested and indicted on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation for public purposes of prostitution. And many people note that his character from Get Him to the Greek commits several crimes very similar to his sexual misconduct allegations in real life. So yeah, that opening, that joke I had with Jonah Hill pretty much sums up the movie now, because we all know how much of a scumbag Russell Brand is now. And yeah, watching this movie again, it was very, very hard not to think about that. But I did enjoy the movie, and like I said, I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think it's one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time. But there's nothing in this movie that's on that same level as Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I mean, Forgetting Sarah Marshall was at least a lighthearted, raunchy romantic comedy, but this is a straight-up raunchy road comedy a la Road Trip. But it's not a bad movie, and yeah, it can be very awkward to watch, especially what we know now, but it's still enjoyable. I still enjoyed it back then, and I still find it enjoyable now. I thought Brand and Hill were pretty good in here. This was back when Russell Brand had some talent to him, before he basically shit on his own career and basically became a pariah to everybody. And Jonah Hill was really good in here too. Even P. Diddy had some good lines in here. Like, you know, my favorite line in the whole thing was, "I got 6 fucking kids. You know how many Air Jordan 6 black kids wear?" I mean, lines like that are great overall. Rose Byrne. This is another one of those movies that was like I think this was the first movie that made her the comedic actress that she is now, and not just the person who was in more dramatic stuff like Wicker Park. Like, this is like just before Bridesmaids really catapulted her, and I thought she was very good as Aldous' love interest in this, who kind of like a mix between Katy Perry and Lady Gaga. Shockingly, the one person in here that I thought was really, really bad was Elizabeth Moss, who plays Jonah Hill's girlfriend in this, and she has this scene where, like, something happens where he doesn't trust her, and so the whole idea is Aldous basically says, "Let's have a 3-way together," and she's the one that's all in on it. It's just like, where did that turn come from? It's like something that comes out of nowhere. And this film would have been fine if there was nothing, if that scene was not in the movie whatsoever. But unfortunately, that scene is in there, and like, it just makes no sense to add it in there. It's just a pointless addition to the plot here. I mean, if you want to make the argument that they saw the original script for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where, you know, Neil Page's wife thought she was cheating on him, he was cheating on her with John Candy's character, and, you know, they took that out smartly because that would have ruined the whole dynamic of the movie. Somebody looked at it and said, well, we could do that in our movie instead. keep in mind, this is the first of 2 road comedies this year that add that plot in there, because we haven't gotten to Due Date yet, and they do the same thing in that movie, completely pointless and has nothing to do with the story in general. And the trailers did not do a very good job of selling the movie either. I think the movie has a lot more funnier stuff to it than the trailers were letting on, but yeah, it's definitely weird to watch it now, knowing what we know now about the two of the 3 leads in here, but it still is a funny movie. I did get more laughs out of it than I thought I was going to get out of it now that time has passed, but yeah, overall, I still think it's a good movie, but yeah, it's definitely one where it's hard to watch it without thinking about what we know now about Russell Brand and P. Diddy, and yeah, it may actually elevate the movie more to people that they see a real life portrayal of what these 2 people are now in real life. But yeah, back then you would have never thought that possible. But like I said, it's still a good movie, but it's no Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's definitely no Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And believe me, I would rather watch this one again than the next 2 comedies we have here, because now we get to the crap. I can hear the voices of the haha comedy guy coming in just a few moments here, so let's go ahead and give him some work. Let's take a look at Killers.
Surprise! I'm back!
Psycho killer!
Who do you work for?
Let's just say that I work for the blah 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 and they gave me a license to blah.
Comedy.
How the hell do you make a ripoff of Night and Day before the movie even comes out? We're still 3 weeks away from Night and Day, and yet for some reason, everyone, I guess, thought that was going to be the next big thing, and we got to make our own movie off of this, because, hey, we've got the director of Legally Blonde, who hasn't directed a good movie since Legally Blonde. And of course, Katherine Heigl worked with him on the last movie she did, The Ugly Truth, which, yeah, like I said at the beginning, this was the beginning of her, this was when her career was just careening down, because everything she had said about Knocked Up being sexist and offensive, yeah, that has been since thrown out the door, because, yeah, you're the crazy one because you keep accepting garbage like this. The film centers on Katherine Heigl, a young woman who meets the man of her dreams, played by Ashton Kutcher, who turns out to be an assassin. And you see that in the trailer. You see in the trailer that Katherine Heigl's got to be the nervous, not ready for not ready for a relationship thing. It's just like, and again, it's the whole thing where it's just like, they barely meet and they're already getting married. It's another one of those movies where it's just like this woman clearly is not ready for any kind of commitment whatsoever. And the fact that she has to marry an assassin, it's just not fun. And it'd be fine if the movie was good, but no, it doesn't work at all. The action sequences are terrible. The comedy is awful. There is no chemistry between Heigl and Kutcher at all. At least with The Ugly Truth, I saw a little bit of chemistry between Heigl and Butler, but here, they're not even trying. Like, there's nothing about this movie that makes any sense whatsoever. The jokes are terrible. It's a movie that's trying to be smart and high-tech, but it wants to appeal to the Sex and the City audience. Not the Sex and the City TV show, the Sex and the City movie audience, just because, heaven forbid, if we have to actually give them a smart movie to watch instead of regurgitated piles of garbage like this that waste a ton of talent. I mean, come on. Not just Kutcher and Heigl. Tom Selleck is in this, Catherine O'Hara, Catherine Winnick, Kevin Sussman, Lisa Ann Walter, Casey Wilson, Rob Riggle, Martin Mull, Alex Borstein, Larry Joe Campbell. Usher is in here too. Mary Birdsong from Reno 911. Have I gotten the point across? This movie's fucking awful. This movie is fucking awful, plain and simple. I hate this movie. I hate it so much. I hate the fact that Katherine Heigl said all these things about Knocked Up, and ever since 27 Dresses, she has made crap after crap after crap, and it's going to get worse before it gets any better. So, and we'll have another bad Katherine Heigl movie coming up in the fall. So, definitely be on the lookout for that, because yeah, that one's not as bad as this, but yeah, this is absolute garbage. I can't believe they made this and actually thought they were going to fool everybody into thinking that, oh, we're smarter than this. No, you're dumb. This movie is dumb. This whole thing is dumb. It's dumb, plain and simple. And but hey, at least it's not as dumb and stupid as our next movie, because yeah, good old Tommy Rothman is going to take another classic, not even a classic, but he's looking at the newspaper and it's just like, let me look at the comics section. Let me see what I can find here that I can make a movie off of. Oh, we already did Garfield. Oh, there's already Peanuts. Fucking Marmaduke.
Hey there, I'm Marmaduke. You might be wondering why I'm on lockdown. Well, it's not because of this. Marmaduke! Or this. Ah, jeez!
Marmaduke!
Or even this.
Marmaduke, no!
Oops. No, it's because my stepbro Carlos and I are being shipped air freight.
Hey, let me out of here. I'm not an animal. Oh, yeah. California.
That's right, we're moving to the OC. Oh man, is life gonna change. New house, new smells, and the nicest bathroom I've ever had. Speaking of which, little privacy, please. Out here, the dog park is like high school for dogs. You've got your jocks and your cheerleaders.
Crispy!
Your drama geeks. Bang, bang.
I've been dispersed so long I can't feel my legs.
And your bullies, the pedigrees.
Check out those ears. Can you fly with those things or what?
Do you think my ears are too big?
Those things are huge. Do friends fly free?
Listen, big guy, I need you to be a good boy. I need to impress my new boss.
I don't know what Phil's worried about.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah, it's a lot more than that.
Comedy.
Because this is what you think of when you think of Marmaduke, right? What the fuck were they thinking when they made this? Like, does any of this feel like the Marmaduke comic strip? No, it doesn't. But, Fox said, hey, the Garfield movie didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it made a ton of money. Alvin and the Chipmunks made a ton of money. Fat Albert made a ton of money. I clearly know what I'm doing, even though my company is going down the toilet with garbage like this. I'm Tom Rothman, and I'm better than you. Is what he says in the mirror every day, but everybody else doesn't think that. But this is Marmaduke. It centers on a Great Dane named Marmaduke, played by Owen Wilson, because that's what I clearly think of when I think of Marmaduke's voice. Owen Wilson, who does not sound like a fucking teenager at all. And that I'll get that in just a second, but the family moves from Kansas to Orange County, California, and faces challenges fitting in with other dogs. And you think that whole diatribe about, Owen Wilson saying, like, the dog park is like high school. No, that's not just a throwaway joke. This movie literally thinks of itself as a high school coming-of-age teen comedy with dogs. And they do everything that in these type of that you would see in a movie like a Juno, in a movie like a Breakfast Club. No, in a movie like a high school comedy. Like, that's what literally happens in here. Like, there's a whole section of the movie where there's literally a part where, the family, Lee Pace and Judy Greer, they're gonna let Marmaduke stay in the house, and Judy Greer's just like, oh, he's got this, he's got that, and like Lee Pace is just like, he looks so normal standing there. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Bring his girlfriend over, invite his friends over, and Marmaduke's just like, yes, and yes, and it's just like, who wrote this dialogue? None of this makes any sense. And then they throw this party, and they literally do, it's like a after party, a high school party. Except there's... I'm flabbergasted. I'm losing my mind here. Deep breath. So what ends up happening is that he has this party at his house, and they literally have a scene where one of the dogs is just like, I am a golden dog, just like the scene from Almost Famous. Because when I think of a Marmaduke movie, you know what the first movie I think of? Almost Famous. What kid is going to get that reference? What adult is going to get this reference and think to themselves, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's clever. Nobody. Nobody is going to do that because this movie thinks Marmaduke is something that is so much more important and so much more of a beloved character. Marmaduke is not a beloved character. He's no Garfield. He's no Snoopy. He's no Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like, he's no Fat Albert. Like, there's no reason to make this movie. And on top of that, there's no reason to have this stacked of a cast in here. Owen Wilson, who was the wrong choice for this fucking dog. Lee Pace, who deserves a whole lot better. So does Judy Greer, William H. Macy, and then the voices in this. They stacked the cast with Emma Stone, George Lopez, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Steve Coogan, Fergie, Kiefer Sutherland, Damon Wayans Jr., Marlon Wayans, Sam Elliott. Why the hell are all these names in this goddamn movie? And it's your typical 2000s kids movie where we're not going to be clever about this at all. We're going to throw in gross out humor. We're going to add in stupid slapstick comedy because we have no idea what the hell we're doing. But we know that this is a family film, and you're going to trick it, and you're going to bring your kids to this whether you like it or not, parents. And yeah, it ended up becoming a hit, unfortunately. But yeah, critics properly trashed this movie, and yeah, it's a terrible movie, man. Like, what more do I got to say about this? This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. This is probably, here's the sad part. This is somehow even worse than the Garfield movies that Fox did. I would rather watch the Alvin and the Chipmunks sequels again. That's how bad this is. This thing is making the Alvin and the Chipmunks sequels look better by comparison, and those are trash. This is garbage. This is unbelievably stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just... You saw how I was losing my mind there, and I'm still losing my mind. Like, I can't believe somebody put this out there and thought, we got a hit on our hands, and hey, they were right. It suckered the audiences in, and that's 2 hours of their life they're never gonna get back. Because yeah, this is right up there with some of the worst movies of the year. Like, this is... Do I gotta say more? It's garbage. It's fucking garbage, plain and simple. So, yeah, that's Marmaduke, so let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up because I am tired this whole weekend. I told you it was going to lead to a lot of interesting conversations, and so will this last movie because, yeah, it's what you think. It's definitely worth the talk here. Let's talk about Splice.
Everybody clear.
This won't be human. Not entirely.
What's happening? This wasn't supposed to go this far.
Close your eyes. 3, 2, 1.
Splice. Rated R. Starts June 4th.
Yeah, this is a very, very bizarre movie. Adrian Brody goes from being an Academy Award-winning actor for The Pianist to wanting to bang a creation that he literally made. I mean, I'm not even joking. That's literally what happens in this movie. It concerns experiments in genetic engineering being done by a young scientific couple played by Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley, who attempt to introduce human DNA into the world of splicing animal genes, resulting in the creation of a human-animal hybrid played by Delphine Shannick. And, yeah, I'll tell you this much. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful-looking woman in real life, and let me tell you, I mean, yeah, you can see why Adrian Brody wants to bang her, because, yeah, this is a bizarre story, but when you see this thing without the hair and all that, it's like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, this is a movie that is very, very weird. It's a weird, bizarre concept of a film, and, like, it's a bizarre movie, and to its credit, that's probably why I admire it so much, because it's a movie that just says, fuck it, we're gonna go crazy on this story, and it doesn't necessarily go all the way towards it, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, it's a really odd movie, man. Like, it's one of those movies where it's very polarizing, but you're either gonna see it and think it's pretty bizarre, but you kind of are admired by it, or you're just gonna hate it. Like, it's kind of like with the Human Centipede, except nowhere near as disturbing and disgusting as that movie is, but yeah, it's an interesting movie, to say the least. Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley are doing a good job here. Like I said, Delphine Shannick does a very good job as this creature that is in here. And yeah, it's a very, very odd movie and very bizarre. And yeah, like I said, it's a movie that you're either going to hate it or you're either going to love it. And I kind of admire it for its craziness. I love how insane it gets. It doesn't go all the way with it, but it goes well enough where I would say that, yeah, this is probably something that you should probably see if you like some weird, sick, twisted stuff like The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum Fly, or like just like a fan of like old school, like, you know, practical effects horror movies like the 80s Thing or An American Werewolf in London. It feels like that type of a film where it's like so bizarre and so insane, and yet you can't take your eyes off of it. It's just that bizarre and interesting overall. And yeah, it certainly is an interesting piece of filmmaking, and one that probably deserves to be checked out at least once to see if you're either really going to love it or you're really going to hate it. So that is Splice.
I don't want to be scared anymore.
The only way to stop it is to face them. I will teach you.
Nice.
Welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we're taking a look at the 4 films released on June 11th, 2010, and we're starting off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is, of course, The Karate Kid, which is, of course, a continuation of the original Karate Kid series. Technically, it's basically a remake of it because it's now taking a kid from his normal town that he was living in at the beginning to, instead of him going to California like in the '84 version. This time, they're going all the way to China, where we follow the story of Dre Parker, played by Jaden Smith, who moves from Detroit to Beijing with his widowed mother, played by Taraji P. Henson, and runs afoul of the neighborhood bully Chang. He makes an unlikely ally in the form of an aging maintenance man, Mr. Han, played by Jackie Chan, who's a kung fu master who teaches him the secrets of self-defense. And let's just say right off the bat that The Karate Kid needed this movie, but also Jackie Chan needed this movie badly, because he started the year off with The Spy Next Door. Needless to say, this is a vast improvement on both this and the next Karate Kid. It's a really good movie. It's a really good film overall, although they're not really teaching karate in this. It's kung fu. I mean, the remake was supposed to be called The Kung Fu Kid, but they changed it because people don't know the name of the Kung Fu Kid. Most people know the Karate Kid, so fuck it. Make it the Karate Kid, which I'm pretty sure that's what happened when they made this movie, but it made no sense whatsoever to do that. But regardless, this is a really good movie. It is a movie that works because it's not just rehashing the same story as the original film. They are doing things different with it. Jackie Chan is giving a really good performance in here. Jaden Smith is really good too. This is probably his only movie where he really does come off as a likable character and somebody that you want to get behind overall. Taraji P. Henson is great, playing his mother. It's funny because when they were promoting this movie, she was on Craig Ferguson, and that was my first time really knowing who she was, and like she had this bubbly personality to her on Craig Ferguson, which is like, that's when I fell in love with her. That's when I was just like, okay, I cannot miss another movie that she's in, because like she's got so much charisma, so much talent to her. Like it shows in this movie too, and it's a very interesting film overall. It's a movie that works because, like I said, it's not just rehashing the same movie again. They are doing things different with it. They are giving it this new, unique spin to it, and it works very well to the film's advantages, and I think it plays very well here. They've been talking about doing a sequel to this for the longest time, and then they were going to do it, but then they decided not to, and then they just said, fuck it, let's just do a sequel that combines this with the Cobra Kai universe, because we have Karate Kid Legends recently with Jackie Chan's character in this, and also Ralph Macchio from the original Karate Kid, and yet it retcons the film, basically placing them both in the same universe, so it's kind of a meshing of the two, which wasn't great, but wasn't bad, but wasn't great either. I mean, it was a movie that clearly was trying to do the same thing that the Ghostbusters franchise had done recently, try to get the jumping point for a new series of films, and I just don't think it worked. I think most people were not really taken aback by it. They were just kind of like, we don't really want to see another one of these, because it didn't do gangbuster business overall at the box office, but it didn't do bad business overall, and I don't think it's worthy enough that we'll see another sequel to that down the road, but it was cool seeing both Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio working to help this young kid out in that movie. But this is a really good movie, and I wish they would have done another sequel to this earlier. But yeah, at this point, I mean, maybe we should be glad it was just a one-off movie, because I feel like they would have butchered it and probably would have redone the same thing they did with the second Karate Kid movie, Karate Kid Part 2, which that worked because it was better. It was a different movie than the original film. It wasn't doing the same thing it did with the last movie. And I feel like if they made the sequel to this, it would have been the same movie as this film, except with a different story and with a different setting in general. But for the most part, yeah, it's a really good movie. The Karate Kid is one that I do recommend checking out. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the second movie we have this weekend, and that is Joe Carnahan's adaptation of the classic 80s television series, The A-Team.
Sent to prison for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security facility. Today, still wanted by the government. They survive as soldiers for hire.
This is beyond nuts, boss. It gets better. Now we're talking.
You miss me?
'Cause I miss you.
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them,
Lucky for you, homie.
You look like you got a real bad attitude.
maybe you can hire.
I love it when a plan comes together.
The A-Team.
What the hell is that? If you look out on the right-hand side of the aircraft, you'll notice that the right wing is on fire.
I mean, it looks like it has the silly, over-the-top gonzo fun of Smoking Aces mixed in with the classic television series, and it seemed like they were really going to go down that route and make it work, but this is definitely not as good as it could have been. You have essentially the same plot as the television series. An elite army team is framed for a crime they didn't commit, and after escaping from jail, they try to clear their name. You got Hannibal Smith, played by Liam Neeson, Face, played by Bradley Cooper, Sharlto Copley, playing Murdoch, and B.A. Baracus, played by Quentin Rampage Jackson. It also features Jessica Biel, Patrick Wilson, Gerald McRaney, Brian Bloom, and as I said, it's directed by Joe Carnahan of Smoking Aces. And as with Carnahan's other film, Smoking Aces, this is a jam-packed, badass action film with so much action that you won't be able to get a hold of yourself after it's done. There is a lot of problems with the movie. I think I speak for everyone that when I say that as good as Quentin Jackson is as B.A. Baracus, because he was really the big thing that came out of this movie that everyone was just like, wow, this guy's really good. Like, there will never be another Mr. T. I feel like that as good as he is in the movie, you can't do what T did with that movie. I mean, that's something where it's just like, yeah, they shouldn't even, it shouldn't even, I mean, it's a noble effort, but it doesn't even pale in comparison. Mr. T will always be the badass one. Also, the movie does run long. I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's just like, it's not even over 2 hours. It's just a little over. It's just a little bit at 2 hours long, 118 minutes. But you really do feel like they could have cut 15 minutes out of the movie. And you know, when they're at the base, that's where they should have cut it out. And I think they were setting up the story for. I know it's supposed to set up the story for the conclusion here, but I think the film ran a little bit too long. If they had cut that out, I feel like they could have really had a tighter film. Speaking of other things involving a tighter film, the editing is really bad too, surprisingly. Like I didn't like that the film broke for a few seconds to show them preparing the plan during the action sequences. Just like, I don't know, like, just get on with the action sequences already. Give us the stuff we want to see, because that was working. That was really badass stuff that they were doing. But, like I said, the performance is overall really good. You know, Patrick Wilson's playing a good antagonist here. I mean, you could tell right away that he's the bad guy. And Jessica Biel, I've been kind of crapping on her for some of her movies she had done as of late around that time, but she's actually not that bad in here. I mean, the action sequences, like I said, are badass. The editing was just a little bit off on them, and the direction on the film was very good. I think there is a lot there to admire about the film. It's still not a great movie per se, but it's still one where I would say, if you like Smoking Aces, you should really like the A-Team. And I like Smoking Aces, and I like the A-Team. So, there you go. With that said, let us move on to our next movie, and that is the documentary Joan Rivers, who's a real piece of work.
Dead, we killed him. There's always an adjective before my name, and it's never a nice adjective. Oh, sure, turn against the queen! She is a snake.
Much in the way that Phyllis Diller paved the way for her, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for Joan.
How can you not find Osama? He's on dialysis. There is one outlet in all of Afghanistan. Find a plug and follow the cord. Oh.
Yeah, so this is a documentary following Joan Rivers for 14 months during her 76th year of her life, and makes an effort to peel away the mask and expose the struggles, sacrifices, and joy of living life as a groundbreaking female performer. The New York Times reported that Stern and Sundberg, the directors of this, Ricky Stern and Amanda and Sundberg, lucked out with their timing, starting the film the year before Rivers won Donald Trump's Celebrity Apprentice in 2008. You also have Richard Belzer, Brad Garrett, you see Kathy Griffin in the trailer, Bill Maher, Don Rickles, Jeff Ross, Gary Shandling, Lily Tomlin. So a stacked cast overall in here, and a very engaging documentary. I feel like Joan Rivers is somebody who really deserves a lot more appreciation. I've done a blog post talking about that not too long ago, and it was mostly because I saw the Late Night Wars series on Fanboy Films. And there's a great moment in there where, you know, Joan Rivers is somebody who, like, somebody who really, when she got that late night show in the 80s and didn't tell Johnny Carson about that before he eventually found out, and that basically ended their friendship. Like, you could tell that really hurt Joan Rivers, and not in a way where it's just like, oh, she's just doing this for her own personal needs. But no, like, when that show came and went, like, her life just kind of fell apart after that show ended, because her husband committed suicide. She was the producer on that show, and she was being blacklisted by everybody because of that show. And it would take a couple of years before she eventually found her way back into the spotlight again. And one of the great things about Joan Rivers is that even though she was really mad about Johnny Carson never calling her and never talking to her ever again, like, there's a great moment in I think it's like a documentary. I don't know if it's not this documentary, but there was a show they did. I guess she had a reality show in the 2010s where she was going to go to the graveyard of Johnny Carson, and she was about to go, like, mess around with it, dance on his grave and all that. It's like, oh, you mean nasty man, you. And the great thing about Joan Rivers is that she could be outspoken and as mean-spirited as she wants to, but she can also be very sincere and try her hardest not to hold a grudge against the people that many think she should hold grudges with. Like, that really is something that sticks with me, because, there's a lot, I have grudges too, and I have a lot of grudges as well, and it's just like, you want to go out there, just tell that person, hey, I don't like you, I hate what you do, and it's like, I can't believe you did this to me. But I look back on the end of this, where she's going to Johnny Carson's grave, she's about to do these things, and then she realizes what that person meant to her and everything he had done for her, and how much she still sees him as a friend. And so she basically just decides to pay her respects to her. And it's like, it's incredible for her to never let her emotions and anger get the best of her, except with the people who she should be upset with. I mean, Johnny Carson, the fact that she never he never called her after the whole debacle at Fox, but it's just kind of like, that's a dick move on his part. But at the same time, like, I really don't think he had any real total grudges with her in particular. Just the fact that she went behind his back to do this show, and to never forgive her for that. It's just kind of like, it really is something where it's just like, I'm more fascinated with Joan Rivers now than I was back then. It's just kind of like, I mean, this is not just with this documentary, but just as a person alone. When you see all these documentaries and all these videos out there of showing her outside of her normal stuff here, you do see a more personal character in general, and you get fascinated by what you see here. The documentary is great as it is, and it is a solidly put together movie in general. But it's a movie. It's one of those things where you get more fascinated by what you hear about this Joan Rivers more when you look into more than just the documentary in general. And I think that's very fascinating stuff to look at all across the board here. So yeah, I kind of went off a little bit there, but yeah, it's a very fascinating documentary. But if you watch this and then also look for that Late Night Wars Carson versus Rivers segment, because it is something that really is a nice little contribution to this documentary, so you get a little bit more of an insight of, how Joan Rivers really felt about some of these things that were going on at the peak of her career. And it's a very fascinating documentary, both for this and the video shorts, and the video Late Night Wars, Fanboy Films. It's definitely on there. Definitely look for that. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is Winter's Bone, starring two notable young actors who would not really young actors, but rising actors, if you will, who really took off after this movie, especially one person in particular.
Get out of the truck, put your hands where I can see them.
Is this gonna be our time?
There's stuff that you're gonna have to get over being scared of.
Get off! Don't hurt my sister! Get in the house!
You was warned, and you wouldn't listen.
Why didn't you listen?
And thus, A Star is Born. That's Jennifer Lawrence, of course, in her first major leading film role here, playing a poverty-stricken teenage girl named Ree Dolly in the rural Ozarks of Missouri, who must locate her missing father, played by John Hawkes, to save her family from homelessness. And this is a movie that not a lot of people saw when it came out originally. I mean, it did become a decent hit in the indie circuits. It only cost $2 million to make, and it made 8 times that budget overall. But it did go on to become a significant awards contender, including 4 nominations for the Academy Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor John Hawkes, Best Actress in a Leading Role Jennifer Lawrence, who at 20 years old was actually the second youngest Best Actress nominee at the time, and a Best Picture nomination too. This thing was nominated in Best Picture. That's the thing about this year's Oscars. Is all things considered, we're at the point of the Oscars where this is one of the worst Oscar years, not because of the list of movies. There's a lot of great movies that were nominated for Best Picture, but the worst one of the bunch won Best Picture, and that's The King's Speech. And I'll save my rant on that until we get to that movie later on down the road, because, oh boy, I can already taste the people I can already sense the people who are King's Speech lovers who are going to be so pissed off at what I have to say about that one. But Winter's Bone really is a really good independent coming-of-age movie, with Jennifer Lawrence really showing her capabilities as an actress as a whole, like really giving the people the chance to see that, hey, this girl's got a lot of work to her. This girl's going to be the future of filmmaking, and of course, not but a couple years later, she won her an Academy Award and was nominated for several other Oscars as well. And John Hawkes is really good too. He doesn't get as much attention as Lawrence did, but this is a guy that I remember seeing him on Eastbound and Down before this. Really good actor, really damn good actor. And of course, he was on Deadwood. He's also on True Detective. He's done a ton of stuff that you may be familiar with. American Gangster. He was in Lincoln. He was in 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. He was in The Perfect Storm. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn. He's been in a lot of stuff that you may have seen and you may have not seen, but it's a great performance of here. The cast overall is really good. Dale Dickey, Garrett Dillahunt from Raising Hope, Cheryl Lee, Tate Taylor. I mean, just phenomenal casting here, and a really good movie. I can't recommend this one enough. Winter's Bone is definitely one you want to check out, especially if you want to see one of Jennifer Lawrence's earliest leading film roles, and it really shows that the girl's got some talent to her, and she would eventually win an Academy Award down the road, rightfully so.
Troops assembled, sir! Good work, Sarge. All right, folks, let's go. We don't have much time. You heard him, man. Let's boot some plastic. Oh, God. Looking good. Good work, fellas. Whoa, hey, impressive. Oh, I can hardly wait. Other way, Rex. Slick, go long.
Hurry up!
Yes, dear.
My arms are getting tired.
Oh, great. I threw my back out. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
I'm supervising. All right, keep it moving, keep it moving.
Go,
Jesse. Not too shabby, huh? Look at this. And you guys were worried. Didn't I tell you it looked great, huh? Oh, Buzz, where the heck have you been?
Sorry, Woody. I've been up all night working on a little something.
Hey, wow! That's quality craftsmanship. Look at that.
Oh, it's nothing, really. Your basic vacuum polycarbonate with a high-gloss sealer to bring out the shine.
Hey!
At least ours is lit up. Oh. Well, that's just great.
I know!
Ah, come on, Woody. You do it.
All right, fine.
There you go. Now that's impressive.
Yeah, I guess it does look pretty good.
I wouldn't have done it any different myself.
I saw that.
Was it just me, or did Woody and Buzz look a lot smaller in that room, in that trailer, compared to what they look like in the movies? Because it really does look like, I don't know if it's like a forced perspective thing or something, but it definitely felt like they were much smaller than they usually were. But maybe that's just my thinking on it. But anyway, welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films released on June 18th, 2010, and we're starting off, of course, with Toy Story 3, the movie that 11 years it took to get this film made, and of course, the first 2 movies are classics, so this one had some pretty big shoes to fill. Do they fill it up? Let's find out. Andy is now 17 and going off to college, and he has to wonder what he plans on doing with the toys that he grew up with. The toys wonder themselves what will become of them, even though they know the day would come eventually. Andy decides to put them in the attic, but his mom accidentally thinks it's trash, and the toys eventually land inside a donation box at Sunnyside Daycare, where the toys believe that they are going to get more playing time with the new kids, but they soon discover that not everything is as it seems at Sunnyside, and basically they become prisoners a la Great Escape type of prisoners inside the daycare, which leads to many things happening in the process, and just like the Great Escape, they have to figure out a way to obviously escape. And believe it or not, at the time when this movie was coming out, I really did not think that I was going to like this movie. I mean, I was really afraid that the trailers really weren't selling me on the movie per se. Plus, we just had How to Train Your Dragon come out, which was a very, very good movie. And I thought back then, this thing is going to have some really, really hard shoes to fill if it's going to be as good as good as this, or even as good as the other Toy Story movies. But yeah, the movie came out, and my fears were quickly evaporated because, yeah, this thing not only delivered everything I was asking for, but it exceeded my expectations. This is actually a tie with, I can't remember which one, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, for the best movie of the year. I mean, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I mean, this is about as good of a trilogy as you can get, and I'm not gonna lie, when Andy, there's that great bit at the end of the movie, just the movie itself overall is great. It's great hearing all these voice actors back again. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack, John Ratzenberger, Wallace Shawn. They got Blake Clark, who was a great character actor, who replaced Jim Varney, who died shortly after the last movie came out, or maybe just a little bit before then. But it's a pretty good replacement for him overall. And you got a lot of great new characters. I mean, come on, Jodie Benson. Well, she's back as Barbie, but Michael Keaton playing Ken. Talk about pitch-perfect casting right there. You got Ned Beatty as Lasso, Whoopi Goldberg, I'm trying to remember who else, Timothy Dalton, excuse me. I'm getting names all mixed up here. Timothy Dalton, Kristen Shaw, Jeff Garlin, Bonnie Hunt playing all these toys from Bonnie in general. And the film is very good. It delivers everything you can ask for, and then some of the great adventure film with these characters. Like, it really ups the ante. It really delivers everything it promises. It's a really, really entertaining movie. And it's not afraid to go dark when it needs to. I mean, the last, 25 minutes alone is filled with so much action and, like, emotions. It's just, like the way they pulled it off so well. Like, you know, from them nearly getting killed from this fire that they're in, from this fiery pit of trash they're going into, to the bit at the end when Andy's giving up the toys to Bonnie. And, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I almost teared up watching it. I mean, it's something where it's just like, it's the perfect finale to that story. It's great seeing, you know, the tide turning and the baton being passed to this young kid, and it's a really, really effective scene. Even after all these years, it still gets me every time I see it. I mean, it's great to see these characters once again on the big screen, and it's one of the rare summer movies that has not been a huge disappointment, because a lot of the summer movies that have come out at that point were not the big hits overall. This isn't Iron Man 2. This isn't, what was another bit disappointing movie? Robin Hood's kind of disappointment. I was gonna say, but then there's Shrek Forever After. But then again, Shrek Forever After actually did better than Shrek the Third did. So, yeah, the summer overall wasn't that strong for blockbusters in general, but this one stuck the landing big time. And again, you got a great script by Michael Arnott, who wrote one of my favorite movies from the last decade, Little Miss Sunshine, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm reading off my review from the website, but. The visuals are still great to look at. They up the ante in terms of the graphical designs. I mean, they definitely look a lot different in the 15 years between the first movie and this film. And, you know, 9 years later, Toy Story 4 would continue to up the ante on the animation overall. The cast, once again, is great. And this is one of the better 3D movies that, like, this is one of the better looking 3D movies. I will say that it really wouldn't make a difference in any way, shape, or form if you watch it on either 2D or 3D. Either version works very well on its own. I mean, it works very well. This whole movie was just so good. It really is one of the best movies of the year. Easily the best movie of the year. Even though it is kind of a tie with Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which we will get to in about 2 months' time here when we get to August of 2010. But, what more can I say, man? Toy Story 3 is an absolutely incredible movie. It's a great end to a really good trilogy, which led to a pointless, but I still think it's still a good enough fourth film that came out 9 years later. I know a lot of people still don't like that one, but I still enjoy it. Toy Story 4 is actually is still pretty solid overall. It's like the Kung Fu Panda 4 of the series in general, pretty much. But anyway, we'll get to that one eventually. But Toy Story 3, what more you gotta say? It's a classic. It's worth it. Definitely check it out. So, 2 movies decided to go up against Toy Story 3. They would eventually lose, but were they bad movies? This first one you could definitely say was Jonah Hex.
Always do laugh when you show up.
We've all heard this story. That you're special. Magic even. That's right.
I own you now. Ain't much for being owned.
Put them in your face. Let myself shave. What happened to yours?
Well, I think that trailer kind of gives you an indication on everything that's wrong with Jonah Hex in general. But, you know, it could have been awesome. I mean, Jonah Hex is a badass character. You've got Josh Brolin playing him. Perfect casting. John Malkovich is the bad guy. They get written by the guys who made Crank, and then the shit starts to hit the fan when you realize Megan Fox is playing the love interest. It's directed by the director of Horton Hears a Who, and it's produced by Matt LeBlanc. I mean, how do you go from a badass start in casting Josh Brolin as Jonah Hex, and then you find out that Joey Tribbiani is one of the producers on this? Like that should have been our warning sign right there. But the plot of the movie is that during Grant's presidency, Jonah Hex, played by Josh Brolin, is a remorseless bounty hunter. In the Civil War, he was a rebel whose honor put him afoul of a Confederate general played by John Malkovich, who murdered Jonah's family while Jonah watched. As a result of the ordeal, Jonah's face is disfigured as he can talk with the dead as well. Because I guess that's exactly what happens in that situation. But after staging his own death, Turnbull, with a group of rebel stalwarts, hatches a plan to bring the Union to his knees. Grant wants Hex to stop it. While the nation readies to celebrate Independence Day, Hex and an unlikely ally, played by Megan Fox, have little time to stop Turnbull and this weapon of mass destruction. And like I said, Brolin seems perfectly casted as Jonah Hex, and he does look like what Jonah Hex should look like. I mean, he's the best thing about this movie. Quite literally, because everything else is fucking terrible. So terrible, I'm coughing about it, but no, really, this is a bad movie. And first off, yeah, Joey Tribbiani produced this movie. Why? Why does Matt LeBlanc produce this movie? Was he supposed to play Jonah Hex at some point, and then they realized, oh wait, this is actually a bad idea? Was this something that he did around the time of Lost in Space, thinking that, well, if Lost in Space is going to be a big hit, it's going to open the floodgates for me to do movies like this, and it just never happened? Or maybe he doesn't even remember him actually doing it. Maybe, I don't know. But maybe the biggest question mark of this whole thing is that, why would you get an animation director that has no experience as a live-action director, except for directing Horton Hears a Who? Like, Horton Hears a Who was a great movie and all, but I'm sorry, you are not Brad Bird or Tim Burton. You can not handle a project like this and expect it to work like the way the studio wants it to, because yeah, that should have been the red flag right there, of getting somebody who has never directed a live-action movie before, and this is the end result of that. I mean, this was just a disastrous mess of a movie. I mean, this is a film that had potential for something great with a cool character like Jonah Hex, and I think in the hands of a better director like a Guillermo del Toro or an Edgar Wright, that could work. I mean, there's a bunch of other directors we have nowadays that I think could probably make it work. I mean, let's see what Mike Flanagan does with Clayface. I think he could be a guy that could make Jonah Hex kind of badass overall. You know, there's definitely a lot of possibilities with other better directors, but not the guy who directed Horton Hears a Who. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. It's just like, the fact that DC did this, and, you know, say what you will about Marvel when it comes to grabbing, you know, directors who are not relatively known to blockbusters, they at least know that they can hire somebody who at least has a sense of what they're doing in general. But DC's just like, let's grab this guy from an animated movie, the director of who has never had any live-action directing experience, to make this movie. Surely this is going to work out well for us, which it does not. But what specifically is wrong with the movie? For the most part, pretty much everything. It takes the awesome character from the comics and just gives him nothing to work with it. You can just tell that Brolin is trying to make good of what he can with this. And there's parts of this movie where he's just like, why am I in this movie? Like, it's a bad mix of Ghost Rider and every predictable Western and every revenge picture ever made. Which is funny I bring up Ghost Rider because guess who's making the next Ghost Rider movie? The writers of this movie, Mark Neverdine and Brian Taylor. So surely they're going to get their shit together for that movie, right? It's going to turn out to be great, right? Yeah, I think you know where this is going, but the rest of the cast is also is completely wasted in here. You got John Malkovich, who's been a great bad guy in the past, but he's just a stereotypical bad guy. There's nothing about him that makes any sense in here. Megan Fox is completely pointless in this. I'm willing to bet that this was the thing that made her steer away from starring in some of our blockbusters, because keep in mind, she was not in the next Transformers movie, and she wanted to do much better movies in general for a little bit there, with Friends with Kids, and This Is 40, which, I mean, that worked for a little bit, and then she just went straight to direct-to-DVD hell, pretty much, which really does suck overall. But she's not a bad actress, but, like, the fact that she fell to that, it's very upsetting. And the rest of the casting here deserves better. Michael Fassbender, Michael Shannon, Will Arnett, Aidan Quinn, Lance Reddick, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Nothing to work with here in this movie. The action scenes are horrible to look at. The score was god-awful. Whose idea was it to have Mastodon doing the score for this? The visuals are terrible. It's only 81 minutes long, and it felt like you're sitting there for hours. Like, this is one of the worst things DC could have ever done. This is right up there with Catwoman and Steel as the worst things the studio has ever done. And that's saying a lot, but there's no excuse for this to be as bad as it is. This is just a terrible, terrible movie. And you expect more from DC than this. Like, what more can you say about it? They took an opportunity with a great character and just made a complete, utter pile of garbage that quickly was forgotten, and it's not hard to see why. So let's see if we can get back on the right note here with our last movie, and that is Cyrus.
Shrek, what are you doing here in the forest? Shrek. John met the woman of his dreams. Then he met her son, Cyrus.
Are you going to stay the night?
I think that's between me and you.
Don't pork one off.
Rolling Stone raves Cyrus is killer funny.
Night, John.
It's actually your mom's in the shop. Cyrus, rated R. And select theaters June 18th.
Does not feature John Malkovich as Cyrus the Virus from Con Air. That would have been awesome. But you still get a pretty good movie out of this film. The movie stars John C. Reilly, who plays a recent divorcee who meets and instantly falls in love with a woman named Molly, played by Marissa Tomei. The two start a relationship, but John soon comes to find out that Molly's overprotected son Cyrus, played by Jonah Hill, does not want to share his mother with anyone else. You also have Kathleen Keener in here, and this is probably the better Jonah Hill June release of 2010, and it is a good movie overall. This is made by the Duplass brothers, who gave us Baghead, but also Mark Duplass had just started doing The League on FX, which is a great show that was really the perfect fit show to go with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and this movie works very well. John C. Reilly and Marissa Tomei, of course, are going to give great performances. They're Oscar nominees. Marissa Tomei is an Oscar-winning actress. But this was really the first chance to see Jonah Hill in a more dramatic role that still is more of a comedy. And he does play it very well here. I think he does set the tone for this very well here. It plays off of John C. Reilly very well here. It feels like Step Brothers, except without the over-the-top zaniness and stupid comedy to go with it. But it's done very well. I think it is a very solid film. It's definitely one of the more underrated comedies that these two guys have made, because most people don't really realize that they made this movie, and it kind of came and went when it did. It was a decent hit overall. It did well with critics, but it just kind of got pushed off to the side very fast, and nobody really remembers this movie in particular. At least I don't think most people don't remember it, but overall, yeah, it's still a really good film. It's definitely one worth checking out. Definitely check out Cyrus.
When these childhood friends get back together,
It's good to see the buffoons again.
it's every man
I thought you were going to start working out.
Got a little Kardashian in there.
or woman
Get down low and let the rock do the magic. Do you know how to skip rocks?
Are you kidding me? I am the best at this.
and child
You know they put a chemical in the pool that turns urine blue.
No, it's an old wives' tale, sweetie.
for themselves.
Oh my God!
Grown-ups in theaters June 25th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we're taking a look at the two films released on June 25th, 2010 to wrap the month up. And of course our first movie is Grown Ups, when their elementary school basketball coach passes away. 5 childhood friends played by Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Chris Rock, David Spade, and Rob Schneider decide to get together and spend the 4th of July weekend with each other's families. And, you know, this is a really odd movie to say the least. It's a movie where it's your typical Happy Madison movie. It's odd because they were apparently inspired to do this after they saw The Hangover. The big thing was that they all saw The Hangover, they all saw how good that movie was, and said, we want to make a movie just like that. They all saw The Hangover and said, we got to make a movie just on the same level. And so that's how this movie came to be. And one can only imagine what they were thinking when they saw The Hangover and realized that they wanted to make a movie like this, like The Hangover. And they made this, and let me tell you, this is not The Hangover by any means necessary. It was thrashed by critics when it came out, and some people have said that this is the start of the Happy Madison decline of those movies where, you know, it just wasn't that funny, but still people went to go see it. It still was a big hit overall. I'm not going to go that far and say that this is the start of that downward spiral for Adam Sandler that is the 2010s, but no, we'll save that for February when it starts off with Just Go With It, because that's where the real downfall of this starts going, when that movie comes out. But for this, it's fine. It's not The Hangover, I can tell you that much. I had a good time watching this. It's a very flawed comedy, yes, but I like the improv moments that they have between the 5 male lead stars. You can tell that everybody in here knows each other. They have a lot of good chemistry together. There's a lot of fun that they have in this movie, and there's a lot of good fun factors in there. There are a lot of jokes that do get really annoying. You got your predictable fart jokes, your boob jokes, your groin jokes. You know, they get annoying after a while, but they don't kill the experience while you watch it. And I don't know why they make Chris Rock into kind of a feminist type of person. I mean, it just didn't really feel. It felt so out of place when you watch that, but Rob Schneider, I think, not surprisingly, he was the unfunniest one of the bunch. I mean, he really wasn't given a whole lot to do, per se. I think the biggest overall problem with the movie is that there isn't really a major story going on here. No real conflicts. It just feels like they just put multiple parts of other movies together to come up with a thread of a storyline here. I mean, it should not be this difficult to do a story like this. And yeah, when I watch it, it does kind of remind me a little bit of Couples Retreat. I mean, I put it on that same wavelength, per se, except I think this is a little bit better than Couples Retreat, per se. You got a good cast in here that works off a simple plot, and when it works well when the dialogue sounds improvised, and it happens in this movie too. But it's funny, especially when you have Sandler and his crew doing what they do best and delivering some pretty good lines overall. But yeah, you do get those jokes that are kind of old, like the whole thing about, you know, the water park and them going and peeing in the pool, and, you know, that scene where Salma Hayek is throwing the baseball to kids. It's like, that's stuff we can expect to see all the time. But hey, Kevin James getting the shit smacked out of him could be funny, though. I don't know why, but yeah, they really tried to make Kevin James the Chris Farley of this group. Supposedly this was originally written for Chris Farley back in 1997, when this was earlier being conceptualized, but that doesn't make any sense, because, you know, how can you say that The Hangover was your inspiration, and then you say that Chris Farley was supposed to do this back when we were supposed to put this together? It just makes no sense whatsoever. But other than that, though, it is what it is. I mean, it's not a bad movie per se, but it is the beginning of the inevitable end of the good, fun, over-the-top Adam Sandler comedies before we get to the ones that just get on your damn nerves so quickly with Just Go With It, and then Zookeeper, and then Jack and Jill, those movies. Yeah, that trend of bad movies begins the next year with Just Go With It. And yeah, that's where it really begins to fall apart. But this, it's tolerable. It's a decent movie overall. I liked it. I thought it was alright for what it was. Certainly did not lead a sequel, I can tell you that much. But we'll save that for 2013. But anyway, that is Grown Up. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other movie that came out this weekend. Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz starring in the action comedy Night and Day.
I want to talk about this guy. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me. He was like some sort of secret agent or something.
Hi, Jim. Maybe I didn't make it clear enough, but we're gonna have to stick together. Sorry. Who are you?
This is the guy.
I'm a guy. guy. I'm the guy. For your own safety. Whatever happens, please stay in the booth. What are you talking about? Oh, everybody get down. No one follows us, or I kill myself and then her. Rodney! Shut you through and through. No bone nowhere near the femoral artery. It's all good. Probably get a promotion. Good? Some people are going to come looking for you now. They'll tell you about mentally unstable, violent, dangerous. It will all sound very convincing.
I'm already convinced.
Till a week ago, Roy Miller was the most trusted covert agent in the world.
What happened a week ago?
Full-blown break with reality. Why didn't he kill you?
I think he liked me.
Hey, Jude! It's a beautiful dress! 1 second. Out there on your own, your life expectancy is like here. With me, it's here. Without me, here. With me, without me. With me, without me.
He's been playing you. He's a spy. That's what he does.
I'm sorry, it's a reflex.
Just don't know what to believe.
In my opinion, sometimes things happen for a reason.
Yeah, sorry for that line that keeps going up. That's not me. That was the trailer itself when I put that up there online. I wanted to look for the 35mm version of it, and that's the one that came up here. But, yeah, 2010 was definitely a year where there was a lot of action, romantic comedies, if you will, or comedies, because I guess you got to include The Tourist in that list, which got a Golden Globe nomination for comedy, but it wasn't a comedy. But we'll save that for December. But we have Jennifer Aniston and Gerard Butler in The Bounty Hunter. We had Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl earlier in the month in Killers. And now we have Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz for the first time since Vanilla Sky together in Night and Day, where you have Cameron Diaz as a classic car restorer who unwittingly gets involved with a eccentric secret agent played by Tom Cruise as Roy is on the run from the CIA. And the pieces are definitely there. Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz worked together very well with Vanilla Sky almost 10 years ago. You have a cast that also includes Peter Sarsgaard, Viola Davis, and Paul Dano. And it's directed by James Mangold, whose last film was 3:10 to Yuma, which was a great film. He also did Walk the Line, Copland. I mean, the guy is a solid freaking director, man, and he very rarely misses. But then again, it's the script that completely botches it. And what we get here is a movie that is really one of the most boring and generic action movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, good lord. Yeah, it's better than stuff like Killers, Bounty Hunter, and Taurus, but at the same time, not by that much. And yeah, it works because Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz work off each other so well, but they've essentially taken Bird on a Wire and replaced Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz. And I'm sorry to tell you this, Bird on a Wire did it a whole lot better. And even that movie wasn't that great overall, but I'd rather watch Bird on a Wire than this. Like, yeah, the action sequences are fine in here. Tom Cruise looks like he's having a pretty good time playing the same character he is. It feels like, what it feels like is a Mission Impossible movie where Ethan Hunt is acting like he is in a Mission Impossible movie, and you have Cameron Diaz, who's acting like somebody who should not be involved in this whatsoever. And yeah, it's a movie that should work, but it just doesn't. It just goes for a generic storyline. The jokes are not funny. The visuals actually look kind of rough when it's not the action sequences. There's a lot of really bad CG in this, and it's that script. The script overall is the worst. They got a guy, Patrick O'Neill, who has never written anything else since then, and he's not even, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now, he doesn't even have a link to his page because he's never made anything else since then, and I wonder why. I wonder why that is, because you made a bland, generic script, and it's just like, you know, there's so much of this that could have worked so well, and it's just such a letdown of a movie that you're supposed to get so much more out of it, and it's just not there when you watch it. It's just a bland, forgettable, schlocky film, and this was kind of a big deal for Tom Cruise as well, because remember, he had just come from running United Artists for like a couple years or so, and then completely falling off the face of the earth for a little bit here. I mean, this was the last thing he did before his eventual career renaissance, because the following year he'd come back in style with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Couldn't remember the name of the next Mission Impossible film, but that's when his comeback really began. This was the last movie that came in between that lull between Mission Impossible 3 and Ghost Protocol, and I mean, the film is trying, though. That's the thing. It's trying to do something. It's trying to make it interesting. It's trying to make it enjoyable. And it's just... that script, man, is just the thing that just keeps it from getting anything good, getting anywhere good. It's just like it just really doesn't work. It's a disappointing movie. I was really let down by it when I saw it, because I was really looking forward to seeing it. They have a good cast in this. They have a good director in here. But unfortunately, there's just nothing else about it that makes it work. And it's just such a terrible, terrible... missed opportunity on so many levels. And, you know, Fox really tried hard to sell the movie, too. And I'm reading up on this history here. It's a fascinating history when you take a look at it, because, for one thing, they opened it 2 days earlier so they can get out ahead of Ghost of Grown-Ups because of poor initial tracking numbers for a film that had a budget of $117 million, which, by today's standards, is not that big of a deal. But back then, that was a big, big deal. And... yeah, it didn't even end up making half that money back per se domestically, but it got help out worldwide. So I guess technically it was still a hit in general, but it was just a missed opportunity on so many levels. And even I'm reading up on here. It's a very fascinating history when you think about it, because they attempted to increase the word of mouth by having the sneak preview, and they knew that day, because they did, when they made the announcement, they knew it was going to be a commercial flop, and so they tried everything they could to try to save it. And a Fox official basically said, after those pre-release polling numbers, they said, at those numbers, we can't open the movie right now. Hopefully that'll change in the next few days. And you don't have a choice. I mean, you have a sneak preview on that day, June 19th, and you don't have a choice because you're opening the movie 6 days from now. Not even that, 4 days from now. And it's just like, yeah, it felt like they botched this whole thing up big time. It made no sense. It just felt like there was a big problem with marketing the film, promoting the movie in general, and the end results spoke for themselves. And yeah, it quickly faded into obscurity, and it never really went anywhere. And just like the movie itself, it never really went anywhere. And it's a shame, because Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz can sell a movie. James Mangold can sell a movie, but if you don't have a good script, it doesn't make a damn difference what you do. Because, yeah, that's the major flaw with the film. A bad script overall ruins it. It's a shame, because I was really looking forward to this, and I was really let down by what I saw from it. So there you go. That's Night and Day for you.